Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Wild Ones Co. I'm Portia Baxter, your host, founder, and lead communicator of the Wild Ones Co., which is a ministry just really devoted and dedicated to helping young people live out their faith and share their faith, share the gospel without being weird. So that is what we are all about. And on today's episode, we are going to talk about what is your calling. So I feel like this is so relevant. People have been asking me lately, what is the purpose of my life? Why am I here? And it's such a relevant question. I feel like everyone wants to know the answer to that question. And not only is it relevant, but it's timeless. I mean, this question it's nothing new. It hasn't just started to be on people's minds. It's been on people's minds for centuries. And just to put it into perspective, back in the 1600s, a bunch of people got together and they decided to talk about this exact thing. And they came up with what we now refer to as the Westminster Catechism. And they say in that man's chief end is to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever. And I could not agree with that more. I feel like sometimes we get so caught up in thinking like, oh, my calling, it's all the stuff that I do. But really, it's more or less, are you enjoying God? Are you having peace in His presence? Do you have a loving, flourishing, lasting relationship with Jesus? And if you do, then you are fulfilling the meaning of your life. God is more concerned that He has your heart than He has what you do. So although there may be certain specific times in life where it's like, which job do I take? Which spouse do I marry? Which neighborhood do I move into? Yeah, there can be specific times where there's a right and a wrong answer, and especially when it comes to matters of sin. Obviously, it's always wrong to sin, but there's a lot of gray stuff that's still in His will, and you're still fulfilling your calling. You could take job A or job B, and as long as you're walking with God, He's still going to use you there and work it all out for good. So there isn't always like this tightrope thing that we have to make sure we get the next step just right. I was listening to a really cool interview earlier this week because I love listening to Faith Radio. And Susie Larson had John Bevere on there, who's been a favorite author and speaker of mine for a number of years. And he wrote a new book called X. I think it stands for like multiply your calling. And he had some really cool points in there that he actually talked about. And I wanted to share a couple of those today. So he referred to Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, which we all know, but he actually read it in the Passion Translation. And here's what it says: trust in the Lord completely, and do not rely on your own opinions. With all your heart, rely on Him to guide you, and He will lead you in every decision you make. Become intimate with Him in whatever you do, and He will lead you wherever you go. I love that, especially the last verse. Become intimate with Him in whatever you do, and He will lead you wherever you go. So that tells me that the key to finding your calling and making an actual difference, making an impact while you're here on life, is intimacy with Jesus. Isn't that so amazing that we just draw near to God? And as we draw near to Him, we become more effective ministers of the gospel. The closer you are to Jesus, the more you're going to be able to accomplish for the kingdom. So spend time with Him. You don't need to worry about all the little day-to-day things. Like, God wants to show you His will. He isn't up in heaven playing hide and seek, trying to make it so complicated for you. Like, He will show you. But the thing is, if you're not cultivating intimacy with Him, then you can miss it. If you're cultivating intimacy with Him and you have a real relationship with Him, then when it's time to talk to that cashier at Target, or your friend that you're building a relationship with for 15 years who's an atheist, when it's the right time and God has done the work in their heart that they are ready to receive those seeds of the gospel that you're going to either plant, water, or harvest, then you will know, because you're already in touch with God. You already hear His voice. You already have a love relationship with Him. You're walking with Him. And so you will know exactly when the time is right to share the gospel with the people in your life. So it's less about doing and more about being in His presence, being a child of God, being a person who says yes to Jesus. So everyone has a calling, and it's intimacy. Draw near to God. That is your calling. And if you're not satisfied with that and you're like, that's not enough for me, I want to do more, guess what? He has assignments for you. He has good things for you to do. Ephesians 2:10 says, since before he laid the foundations of the earth. But let me tell you this, all of it's going to be worth nothing if it doesn't come from a place of loving Jesus, okay? So first things first, you got to be close to him. He wants you to rest in your identity as a child of king, as a child of the king, and from there, share his love with a lost, hurting, and broken world. You know, a lot of people in this world want to chase fortune, want to chase fame, want to chase money, want to chase success, want to chase relationships. And some people might even want to chase things like ministry work and professional titles. And that's all good and it's fine. But listen, don't waste your life. Those things don't cause you to be a great person. What Jesus said is greatness is serving. So I love the quote. I don't know who to credit this to. Everyone wants to change the world, but nobody wants to change the toilet paper. Be the person who will change the toilet paper. I believe we are called in everything we do to do it from a heart of love and to do it because we love God and we want to share that love with others. You know, one thing that I wanted to mention again from that interview with John Bevere, that he said there's no separation between the sacred and the holy. Basically, it means, or the sacred and the daily. So basically, it means like, you know, you're not just called to ministry if you're a pastor or a worship leader or somebody who's like in formal ministry. You're called to ministry no matter what job you choose. Your job is not your ministry. Your whole life is your ministry. There is no sacred and secular. That's what John Bevere said. So if you're like a doctor or a public school teacher, even a science teacher, right? Every day you get up, you get ready, you go to work, and you think you're not doing anything for the kingdom because you're not a pastor or a worship leader. And that is absolute trash. That is so far from the truth. Every day you are loving people. Every day you are leading people to Christ by the way that you live your life. And so like John Bevere said, there's no sacred versus secular. It's all sacred. Every day is an opportunity to love people into the kingdom. So get out there, whatever you're doing, know that your life is your ministry. There's no difference between secular and sacred. It's all holy ground. So get out there this week and share your faith with somebody. Come on, guys. So many people need to hear it. There's hurting people in the world. Let's do this thing.